All right, welcome back, everybody. My name is Pedro. I am here with
Steven.
We are two mics on,
Some theories.
and today's episode's about
A lot of stuff.
All right. So before we get started, important question. I need you to be honest with me. How are you?
Tired.
All right. Fair enough.
Simple and plain. I'm tired.
Tired of what?
I'm tired of being tired.
All right. How has that changed your day?
Just feeling lethargic. I don't have as much zip to my zap.
All right. Did you ever have a Zappo?
Is that a lighter?
Yeah.
No, I've never had one.
All right. I figured you never been fired before. Anyway, so let's start this episode. All right.
Oh man. How are you?
Hold on. I was about to lie, but then I had to stop myself. I was about to say good, but I don't know. I'm getting kind of tired of saying what was it called? The whole, I guess pretending the whole fake interaction thing.
Yeah.
Have we talked about it?
Not on here, but
Not
we've
here.
talked about it before.
Yeah, it's kind of it's annoying me.
All right, so skip that. Best Halloween costume you saw this year?
Are we going to skip it?
Yeah.
All right. I'm not sure. Harmony. And for everyone listening, that's my dog scratching herself. Anyway, best Halloween costume. No idea.
Do you still get trick-or-treaters?
Not really, because we leave the lights off and they usually don't come when you leave the light off.
Yeah. Makes sense. We got none. None.
You're also on the main street too.
Yeah.
I would assume that if you're on the main street, where are you on the Beverly Hills and Sunset, something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah, that you wouldn't get that many people because you're on the main street.
Yeah. Yeah, we got none. But I did see a bunch on social media. A bunch of people dressing up. And actually at the gas station, more people that I saw more people than I thought I would have.
Is Halloween for kids or for adults?
Depends on who's asking.
Me asking you?
Damn, I don't know. I would have to say from my perspective, it's more for the adults. And I'll tell you why. I feel like it's more for the adults because it's mainly the adults that are dressing up. And if the adults have kids, then it's the adults dressing up their kids and using it for photo ops or like thinking or making it an excuse to be cute and dress up and like as a family.
Yeah. When we were not trick-or-treating, when we would dress up for Halloween, do you feel like there were, what's kind of weird to say, I was gonna say, do you feel like there were more kids out trick-or-treating? But I think we would say yes.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't know now because I don't go out, so I wouldn't know how to compare it to before.
Tell you this, my neighborhood was popping when I was young.
But even in that neighborhood when you were young, if you go back even another 10 or 20 years, were there more people there then? And I don't know if you know the answer, but I'm just asking, were there? Has this been a steady, gradual decrease? Or is this something that just happened in the past, I don't know, 20 years? And I'm just asking the question. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, it's hard to say just because obviously I wasn't alive before my time.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't know if there was more or less trick-or-treaters. Um, but based on my own experience, I would have to say there was probably more trick-or-treaters out, like in the 70s, 80s, just because what I see on TV, and because when, obviously when we were younger, as we got older, you could notice that there was less and less people out. While like, let's say we were out every year, you would see less people. But that's also, uh, that could be because of a lot of other things. Obviously, we got older, so instead of trick or treating, we wanted to go to parties or just go hang out. So I assume a lot of other kids kind of felt the same way. We probably wouldn't want to have been hanging out with younger kids unless you did have brothers or
Mm-hmm.
younger siblings. So I don't know.
Did you ever want to change the world?
Change the world?
Did you have some realization when you were younger? Were like, oh, I'm gonna change. I want to change the world.
Yeah, I mean, I could say that.
How?
Based on how I live my life now, I won't litter. I will not litter. So if I have like a trash bag, if I went out to eat at a fast food restaurant and I had it in my car or whatever, maybe went to the park or something, I won't leave it there. I'll hold on to the trash or like the McDonald's bag until I find a trash can. Yeah, I will hold on to it. I won't litter.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you mean. So something from what you experienced back then forced you to change the way you are now, which is in not littering.
Yes. And it's not like I saw something super traumatic where like I saw this landfill or I saw this park that was just, littered all over the place. I don't exactly remember why, but I just made this conscious decision that I don't want to be someone that litters.
Shit, I shouldn't have answered your question. How I answered the question before. Because what I was gonna ask you was, when I said change the world, I mean like in a grand scale. In the same way when someone who's playing guitar when they're 10 wants to be a rock star, in that kind of way, where you're like, at that age, I'm gonna change the world, so I'm gonna create the next AI, create something that'll end hunger, illness, etc.
Did you answer the question for me?
Well, I gave you an explanation. I said, was it because of this and this? And you said yes.
Damn, I don't remember that. The whole part of the conversation is gone from my recent memory.
Yeah.
Nah, never like that. Never where I really like when I grew up or like when I was little, I would be like, oh, when I grow up, I want to do this, or I don't think so.
I asked you that because I was thinking the other day about back when I used to think that, and how back then it seemed, with the less information that we had, it seemed more plausible, I guess. Not plausible, it seemed more, I don't want to say realistic. It seemed like it could be achieved because we didn't know what it would take to do it. As in, if you're middle school, high school, you can say, I want to be a professional athlete. And you can say that, and you can even believe it, but it's the whole, you don't know what it takes to really do it. You do to some extent, yeah, you need to be the best in practice, but the whole behind the scene stuff isn't understood until you actually start doing it. You can know about it and you can see it, but you don't understand it until you're in it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get where you're coming from.
So with the whole change the world thing, I think it's kind of the same thing, because you don't know what it actually takes and you have less information. Then it seems more, I guess, realistic. Like, yeah, I can do it, but it's not really realistic. It's like it's an illusion. So then I was thinking about back then when I used to think I'm gonna change the world, and then how I think I was watching. I don't remember what triggered it exactly. I was watching Theo Vaughn with Mike Posner talk about his walk across America, and they never mentioned this specifically, but he was talking something about how he when he started he had one objective, and when he got to the end he had another one, and then when you hear someone talking and then it triggers an idea that's maybe relevant, but sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
Like if to give an example, let's say that two people were talking about pizza and really detailed about the ingredients and all this stuff, and then all of a sudden I connected to cars just because of something that reminded me of something having to do with cars.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what happened. Then I started to think about the whole change the world thing. And I don't remember how I got to this conclusion exactly. But then I started thinking, or the phrase, you can change the world, right? You've heard that phrase, you can change the world. I don't even know if it's a phrase, but you can change the world. So then I started thinking about myself as the world. So if we imagine the earth as the world in the first phrase, this is phrase number 1, you can change the world. And we imagine the world as earth. I think that's pretty reasonable. People would say the world is earth, right? And then everything outside of that would be the universe.
Mm-hmm.
All right. In phrase 2, what if same thing, you can change the world, but instead of thinking of the world as earth, we think of each individual person as a world. And then everything outside of that is the universe. So then the phrase, you can change the world, becomes, you can change yourself.
Right.
And then in doing that, then you change the world.
So each individual person is a world.
Yeah. And everything outside of that would be the universe.
So would it only hold true in changing yourself? Because I find that it would be way more difficult if you wanted to change the world, but you were talking about somebody else.
Well, so then in changing yourself, then hopefully you can change. I wouldn't say change. Then you affect the universe, which would be everything else.
Like domino effect.
No. You just affect it. It's not like it's a gradual increase towards good or towards fixing everything. It just changes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just affected somehow.
And that could be good or bad.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just what it led me to.
Have I ever thought of it that way? Do you feel more people should think of it that way?
No, I don't think people should think about it that way. That's just how I thought about it. I was just sharing that.
With things like that, sometimes I find it hard to give it a value.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not saying it's a law, or it's a law, or it's a rule or anything. It's just an idea.
It's a neat way of looking at it, though.
Would you say it's more optimistic or pessimistic? I don't have the answer to it. I guess I'm just asking that now.
Optimistic, I would have to say.
Yeah, I would say that too. I'd have to think about it more to see if. Yeah, but just.
I would say that only because, but it's kind of me being biased because I see things more. The way I see things is optimistic, so I would have to say for my own answer to your question, it would fall in that same path.
Wait, in the same path of what?
Like, you asked me if I see it as, or like, would it be more optimistic or more pessimistic?
Mm-hmm.
I think that answer would change with every person that you ask, depending on like their own view of life or what the world is.
Okay.
So my answer, no matter what, would probably be that it's optimistic. But if I was more of a pessimistic person, I think that would change, and I would answer accordingly to how somebody would answer accordingly to how they see like their own views.
Yeah, that's true. Because I assumed when you said the domino effect, you meant as in something that's exponentially going towards good or improvement. That's what I assumed when you said it. I don't know if that's what you meant.
I think you kind of went a little deeper than how I said it. I was trying to be as simple as possible, where it's like you make one change and then so like that you're the first domino. So you making a change would like knock into the second domino, making somebody else change.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'll affect that person in some way that they'll make some change.
Mm-hmm.
But it's neither good nor bad. It'll just, so that person making a change will affect another person making a change, and it's just one after the other.
Okay, yeah, then I did make that assumption. Yeah, because it was a made-up assumption. Because the domino effect just means it's just back to back. When one thing starts, it continues on to the rest of it.
There's probably a way better term than the domino effect.
Yeah, that word I think it was a domino effect that confused me a little bit.
Yeah,
and that's what led me to make that assumption.
Because it's also like saying it's an absolute that people will make a change.
It's an absolute that.
So we're assuming that it's an absolute that people will make that change if we're gonna use the domino effect. Because no matter what, the next domino is gonna hit the next domino. Just physics. It's already in motion. So if we're comparing the dominoes to people or the world, we're just assuming that domino effect is gonna, stay in motion.
Do you look at new podcasts?
Do I look at new podcasts?
Yeah. As in search for new ones and listen to them?
It's rare that I do. It's more it's more that I'm interested in something or someone, and I'm looking up everything I want, like everything I can know about them. And most of the time they'll have a podcast, so I'll listen to a couple of episodes just to get my fix on whatever it is that I want to know about them.
Mm-hmm.
Or word of mouth by people in podcasts that I already talked to. When they happen to mention somebody else's podcast, then I'll want to find that specific episode that they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I'll listen to it, I'll find out, and then if it was enough for me to continue to listen on to other episodes, then that's how I mainly get my new podcasts.
Okay, from recommendations of the ones you're already listening to.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Because I have an assumption that as new podcasts, they're being created, and I think the big explosion of podcasts, I don't even like that word explosion, the big popularity?
Influx,
yeah. That's a better, the big influx of starting podcasts started, maybe two years ago? You would say? 1 year? Maybe 2 years? 1 or 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1 or 2 years. So I have an assumption. I feel like, and I haven't checked, that everyone's going to be talking about the same thing. Similar topics. Like when this episode comes out, I feel like the past episodes from other podcasts doing similar genres, a lot of them would talk about the Nate Diaz fight, anything maybe political that just happened, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
There was more to it, but I lost my train of thought though. So I paused and then you said, yeah.
You push pause?
No.
Oh.
I lost my train of thought right now and I paused and then you said, yeah.
I misunderstood you.
No, but yeah.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of saturated content with mostly all the same stuff. But I kind of compare it to like the news outlets from back in the day. Everyone's going to be reporting on the same things. If you're like a sports news agency, you're going to report on the star player that just got injured because that's what everybody wants to know about. If you're a news company in a specific region, you're going to talk about the fires. You're going to talk about said murder in, you know, your neighboring district or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would agree with that, but it's just what's gonna happen. I don't think there's any way to avoid it. So even if we started talking about something new, with so many people in the US or so many more people like getting access to podcasts every day, like I feel like with technology just expanding and growing, more and more people are going to have access to these things.
Mm-hmm.
And since it's somewhat, I'm saying somewhat easy, I don't know actually. From what I hear, it's actually pretty hard to start a podcast. You know, more people are gonna, as they learn and get more computer savvy, they're gonna try and, you know, put out their own stuff. You know, maybe we're inspiring people. So yeah, people are gonna imitate us. We're maybe imitating somebody else, or while we're trying to find our own image. I mean, everyone's gonna start talking about the same thing until we find something.
Yeah. I see. Hold on. I fell asleep. Okay. Yeah. Why did I bring it up? I brought it up. Hold on. You said something.
I just went on a rant, but yeah.
Who said it was hard to start a podcast?
Well, I don't know if it is. I was going to say it's easy to start a podcast, but I remember one of our conversations off camera where you were telling somebody how you were struggling to start an RSS feed. And then they were like, oh yeah, man, I feel you. And we were kind of like, or you were telling me how like going back to the whole how are you blah blah blah, that you feel like that was just kind of like a pretend or automated response because they don't really know what you're talking about, or maybe they do and they're just like,
yeah, Dina said that. I remember that.
Damn. I wasn't trying to put them on blast, but
I'm tired of like this. All right, so this last week I remember I was working on a video and I was not struggling, but it was difficult for a little bit, for maybe like a week or two. Difficult, and I was not nervous, but a little bit worried about the story of the video, about making a story about the video. And then once on Friday, I don't know how it happened, the exact moment, but there was a point where I was like, I made one video and I really liked it. And then when it got to the second one, I just said, fuck this. I'm going to make a video that I like, that I think would best benefit the client, instead of like trying to do all these little guidelines and trying to tailor it towards them. It's almost like if you were baking a cake and you wanted to make the best cake, you can follow a recipe. And you can make a cake by following the recipe. To me, that's cool, and I think that's how you're supposed to do it. But I would rather follow the recipe and then 2 eggs. It's that I know that if I make it with 3 eggs, and I don't know this, but it's just an example.
It'll come out a little bit more fluffier.
Yeah. And then I think it would be better if it comes out fluffier. And I know if I add white icing on the bottom part, then I could color contrast it on top with a light blue icing, and then follow that with the pink icing, when all they wanted was, then when they didn't even want icing, but I just wanted to add it just to see. And if they don't want it later on, then it's all good. We'll just take that shit off.
Yeah.
So that's what I did with the second one. And I don't know if they liked it or not because I left. If they're gonna go with it, but I liked that video. And then when I left that day, I was like, why was I worried about it before? Well, like, why was something was stopping me from hold on, Harmony just threw me off. Harmony, go to bed. Go over there. Something was stopping me from, I don't want to say taking a, I don't want to say taking a leap of faith. I feel like that's just taking
Initiative?
not initiative either, because we have full control of what we can do. Well, there's a little bit of constraint of what we can do. I guess risk. Taking, not even risk, adding flavor, I guess would be the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can, like, adding flavor to it. And then maybe a little bit, no, not to not caring, just adding the flavor. Then I added my own flavor, and the main thing was that I liked it. Then I was having fun with it. So I bring that up, and then I connect it to the thing before where it all goes back to the acting in the show or playing in the show, where every time I always, like, I have these, it always goes back to the show. I always feel like it's the show that's stopping me from doing it. Almost like a curtain that's behind you. Mm-hmm. Like if you're on a stage, imagine if you're on a stage and then half of the stage has a curtain just chopping it in half.
Yeah.
So you're only giving half of the performance because the stage is chopped in half because that fucking curtain is in the way.
Mm-hmm. So you just gotta get rid of the curtain.
Yeah. But that's... let me ask you this. How?
I think you're doing it the correct way. And I think by making people uncomfortable.
I don't think that's the correct way. I would say that the correct way... and
the correct way would be to keep playing your acting in the show as is. But even then, you're still getting half the show. So you got to do the correct way for you. And I think I don't disagree with the way you're doing it. So that's why I'm also saying it's the correct way.
And we're back from our quick bathroom break. Back at it again. So you ended with saying the correct way. And what did I say after that? I don't know, but we went off. So we're going to go off again. Continuing that. Well, when you were saying the whole correct way the first time, like that whole summary,
yeah,
my first thought instantly when you said, how'd you say it? That you're doing it the correct way by making everyone uncomfortable. Right. And when you said that, I thought to myself, I think the correct way is making yourself uncomfortable.
How so?
Because when you're making yourself uncomfortable, you're doing something you don't want to do. And hopefully when you're doing that thing that you don't want to do, it's somehow helping you. Now, you could be doing something you don't want to do and that's not helping you in whatever, how should I say, specific goal you want to do. But I'm talking about in the aspect where you do something because you don't want to, because hopefully it'll help you. Like public speaking. No one wants to, I shouldn't say no one. Many people have the fear of public speaking, but if you public speak, hopefully over time you become a better public speaker. So that's what I'm talking about when I mean making yourself uncomfortable.
Okay, I get that. But how does that work in scenarios where it's like the whole speech, not speech, like the automated conversations or the like in your terms, playing the show?
Oh, I found the solution to that super easy. You just have to be honest.
And isn't that? Well, I guess yeah. That's what I meant by making everyone else uncomfortable.
Gee, you should have said that.
Well, yeah, that's what I meant. Because I mean, you being honest and doing it how you're doing it, some of the responses to all these automated conversations would make the other people uncomfortable. Just because they're not expecting it. It's more of a shock factor, I think.
Yeah, the only thing with honesty is that you often have to toe a line between being an asshole and being honest, and sometimes you can't. Because if someone,
Look, man, once you're over on this side and everyone just kind of refers to you as an asshole, you don't care.
well, it's the caring part is a big part, but it's also how you say what you're gonna say. Because if someone looks like shit, yeah, you could go up to them and be like, "Hey, yo, Sally, you look like shit." That's being honest. You're being honest, but you don't have to say that. You're making a choice of saying it like that.
Yeah.
Because you can also say, "Hey, Sally, I don't know what you did last night, but are you okay? You look a little unwell today." And you're in both situations. You both can be honest, but the way you approached it was differently. So that's what I mean by towing the line between being an asshole, because it's how you say it, and how you say it will determine how it's perceived.
So you're sugarcoating it a little bit then.
Not if you're honest with yourself on how you want to say it. It depends how you want to say it.
See, that's the key word, honest with yourself.
Yeah.
So the way when we first had this conversation, when you said, "Oh, I'm just gonna be honest," I thought it was the opposite. You being honest with everyone else.
No, not at all.
So that's why I was like, that's why my mind straight up jumped to making other people uncomfortable.
No, not at all.
So like with the whole plane, like the, "Oh, hi, how are you?" Like, goddamn, keep that to yourself or something.
Well, yeah, you can still do that too, but what I guess, yeah, it depends on how it makes you feel with, because you can say, you ask me, "Hey, how are you?" and I can say, "Good," but then really, I'm tired or etc. or whatever. But I lost my train of thought. Sorry. Well, anyway, carry on.
No, I lost mine too.
All right, well, I didn't. I got it back. Fucking tired of like this glazed approach everyone takes. And when I say glazed, I thought glazed donut. It's a nice, creamy, smooth texture where everything is sweet.
I think if you said the word glaze to anybody, they would automatically go to the donuts, just like the fogginess on top of the donuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I said the sweet because I feel like that's how the conversations are being said. Very sweet. And there's nothing wrong with it. That's all good. But when you have too much of that sweetness, I think then it just gets bad for you. Both physically and, how should I say it, conversationally. That's why I said the cure, the antidote, or whatever would be honesty, but then the whole complicated part would be the whole asshole and being honest with yourself on how you would want to say it. But then sometimes if you are the asshole, then you don't have to lie, but then you can't say what you want to say because you don't want to just go to Sally and be like, "Yo, Sally, you're fucking...
Step your fucking game up."
No, I mean like, "Yo, Sally, you're fucking dumb." You can't just tell her that, even though that's how you feel. You can't just go around and saying that to everyone you know.
Yeah.
"Yo, hey, you're fucking stupid." I mean, you could say it, but
sometimes you would just feel so much better by doing it that way.
Nah, I don't like making people feel bad. And I know I don't. Not that I'll always tailor my actions toward them, but I don't want to directly and intentionally, and I think intentional is a key word, intentionally go out and hurt someone, physically or emotionally or mentally or etc.
I'm a little the opposite.
I don't know. I don't think you've ever done it intentionally.
Like, okay, so intentionally to me would be like if we saw somebody in some stranger in public,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just like, I just had these horrible thoughts of, yo, you just okay, yeah. So we saw the stranger in public, and I didn't like the way they were dressed or something. I would never just go out and be like, yo, you look like trash.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is intentionally trying to be rude or hurtful to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say, for example, there's I guess like a coworker who's literally doing something dumb.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a what's the word I'm looking for?
1v1 situation.
No, professional workplace, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
The word I was looking for was professional. We're in a professional place. I obviously can't go up to this person and be like, yo, you're being stupid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, would I love to go up to her and tell her that? Because obviously the way she's doing something is making my life difficult. So then, yeah, I would love to go up to her and tell her, you know, the way I would like to tell her, because it would make me feel better because she's causing me all this frustration. But then I'm just letting my emotions take over and all that. But it's not me intentionally wanting going over there to tell her, oh, I'm just saying her, but it could be a him in this scenario too, because this is just a made up scenario.
See, and that's that PC bullshit that fucking annoys me. That's what I mean. I knew what you meant, but I know you said that because of the camera. Because if it wasn't there, I know you wouldn't have specified that.
Actually, the only reason I'm specifying it is because I had to reread my employee handbook from where I work now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very specific. And whenever I am talking about my job, there are very specific things that I can't say. And because this is being recorded and it's going to be on the internet forever, I just have to be careful. I just can't make it seem like I'm talking about somebody specific or describing them specifically. So I have to be like him, her, whatever.
What if I don't identify as him or her?
It.
I just find that offensive. I'm an it? Do I look like a horror movie?
That.
Do I look like some kind of horror movie? Do I look like a clown? Do I make you laugh? Is that who I am? That made me laugh.
You should be an actor, bro.
Nah. I'd kill the game.
I forgot what we were talking about. But I felt like I was ranting. I feel like I've been doing that lately. Ranting.
I've been wanting to rant, but I have to stop myself. Not ranting. You're just explaining whatever you want to, and then you expand on it. You're expanding, not ranting.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it could be ranting.
I feel like in topics that I should rant.
Expand.
Yeah, in topics that I should expand, I don't, and things that really aren't important or like some small topic that we're just skimming over. I feel like I tend to expand on that.
If you're joining us now, then I had just cut because Steven had forgot to mention that he's going to Chicago. As you can see by the chair in front of me, Steven. Matter of fact, hold on. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get comfy. All right. So here's the story. We're recording last week. Day's not important. We're recording. Went a bit over the normal time that we do, which is about an hour. No big deal. Went over after the pod. Yo, Steve, what are you doing next week? Or I think he told me he's going to Chicago. And it's one of those moments when he told me and then it just snapped. Oh shit, how are we going to record? I don't know, Steven. If you were going, you should have planned that out. So, Chicago. Why is he going there? I don't even know. 3 days? What can you do in Chicago for 3 days? The only thing I know about Chicago, which isn't a lot. One, it's called Shaw City or Shot City? Something like that. Like I said, I don't know much about it. Pizza. The deep dish and really good pizza. Or technically really good Italian food is what I hear. What else? You have the seasons there. Meaning when it's winter, it snows. Summer, it's hot. Spring, it's normal, I suppose. And that's it. Really, that I know. I know there's a lot more to the city. Landmarks, people, etc. That's all I know. Why is Steven going? No idea. So, back to how the Steven going to Chicago and why you just saw this cut is because I had to split up the last episode, or the episode I guess you're watching now, into 2 different parts, but I didn't want to just split it up and have a part 1, part 2. Because for me personally, I hate part 1 and part 2s of something. And I know we've done it before, but we only did it, I think, once, maybe twice. And just to test the waters, just to see what would happen and what the reaction would be. And for me personally, not a fan of it. So I wanted to do something new for this one that would make it into its own episode and not a part 1 and part 2. So this one will be 57. The next one will be 58, and make them independent of each other without having, let's just take this long episode, cut it, chop it, part 1, part 2, or 57.1, 57.2. So for this one, really I was just going to talk about the reason behind it and just what's been going on. Popeye chicken sandwiches came back. I don't know if you guys heard about the stabbing over a chicken sandwich. Haven't had that sandwich yet. Had the Chick-fil-A one. Don't really see the hype over it. I did hear this theory that someone said online, which was it's not the chicken sandwich that caused the stabbing. It was the fact that it got buzz online, and because it got buzz online, buzz being popularity or viralness, I suppose, that people are going to get the sandwich, and when they get the sandwich, they want to post it or share it, and when they share it, then it gives them some kind of, I don't know if this is the right word, social equity, social currency, that, look, I did this, and because I did this, or in this case, I got this sandwich, I'm one of the few that have it, and now that I have it, my social currency has increased. Not sure if that's true, but just thought that was an interesting thing to think about, how when we get something, do I pause and say how a lot? And how? Suppose I do. What is weird is how cowboys used to say howdy. And you know what's funny? Not recently, maybe 2 years ago? 2 years ago, I found out that the word howdy means how do you do. I don't know if you guys knew that. That was a surprise to me, how the word how, it doesn't even make sense. How and dy. How do you do? I guess it does. How do you do? I'll tell you people who won't be saying howdy. People that go Black Friday shopping. Because it is coming. Black Friday shopping. Is there anything I'm going to get? I don't think I'm going to get anything. I'm sure Steven will get something. Probably something tech-based. But I'd rather not go to the store. I did camp out at a Best Buy once. First in line. Camped out Wednesday night? Or was it Tuesday? It was either Tuesday night or Wednesday morning. But I think it was Tuesday night. Camped out that day. And I didn't stay there the whole time. And at the time I was going to school. So when I had class, I would rotate with my brother, my friend, and my parents. And we all took different shifts. So Black Friday was... It's called Black Friday, but technically they opened the store on Thursday night. And I've noticed they keep pushing the time back and back. Before it was actually at midnight when they would open it. When I was there, they opened it at 10 p.m. Thursday night. And now, I'm not sure how it is now. Yeah, I don't know how it is now. They might open it at 10 or maybe even earlier. From what I remember, 2018, I believe they were even opening at 5 p.m. on Thursday. If I remember correctly. Yeah, I'd rather do Cyber Monday. I feel like I'm getting winded from just continually talking and not pausing. Damn, this is rough. Take a quick breather. I was also gonna... The bio that we have, it might be changed by now, but currently the bio hasn't been changed. That will be changed soon. Just haven't worked on it. But I will soon enough, because me and Steven are gonna make a switch. Switch being... I guess you guys wouldn't know this, but I do all the... What would the word tech? Tech, setup. Alright, Steven, let's just be real. I do everything and Steven does nothing. But now we're gonna switch it. 360, Steven's gonna do anything and he will struggle. You know when your teacher gives you a test, essay, or it doesn't even have to be a school thing. Someone gives you a deadline for job, work, school, etc. You get this deadline months in advance, maybe even weeks in advance, depending on when whatever you're doing is due, when it's not due. So you get this deadline. They tell you, hey, what's a good name? Hey, Bartholomew, I'm giving you this. Let me see. Let me make something up. Yeah. Hey, Bartholomew, you have 3 months to figure out how you can get an anthill, how you can replicate an anthill in this little glass box. So you get 3 months. Cool. Is that enough time? Maybe. Never really made an ant box, but you get 3 months. All right. A week passes. No big deal. 2 weeks pass. All right, whatever. Still plenty of time. 3 weeks pass. Should probably get started soon. 1 month passes. Ooh, that's 33% done. Gotta get started real soon. Half of the time has passed now. 1.5 months. All right, this time for sure. Next week, gonna get started. 2 months are gone now. Well, still got a month left if I power through it and I plan things correctly. I may have to stay up a little bit, but things will still get done. All right, well, maybe. Now it's 2 weeks before. All right, 2 weeks. If I stay up really late, I might be able to cram everything and I'll still be able to do it. Still got 2 weeks. And that's where Steven's at. He's got 2 weeks. 2 weeks to do what? Everything. Will he do it? Maybe. Is he gonna do it? He's gonna do it. Will he struggle? Yes. Will he cry? Yes. Will he ask for help? Yes. Am I gonna help? No. Maybe a little. Whoop. Steven's not even here and I blanked. Alright. I think I'll end it there. This will be, if you're watching this will be the end of 57. And then for the start of 58, because we split that one up, I'll bring something else, talk about something new, and be on for maybe 10, 15 minutes, and then continue on with the episode. So this one started with the regular podcast, and then I came in at the end. The next one, I'll probably start it, and then it'll go on to your, what do they say? Your regularly scheduled program? Now back to your regularly scheduled program here at NBC News. Not that NBC News has a specific channel for their regularly scheduled programs. But that's how these next 2 episodes will go. So this should be the end of 57. Steven better bring me back something from Chicago. Not pizza, but actually, what could he bring me from Chicago? A shirt? Let me see. Let me guess. What would he bring me back from Chicago? Better not be clothes. Just cleaned out all my used clothes to not important. We'll see. So, 2 mics and some theories. End of 57. Thank you for being here. And I'll see you in the next one. All right.